we're back.
Yay!
And this is episode 4 of the Tea and the Butty podcast.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Dominic.
I'm Erica.
I'm Erica.
I'm Dominic.
Here we are to tell you all about the difference between the sweetest treats in America and Britain.
We like to talk about food.
So we're going to talk about sweet treats and
Sweet treats.
Sweet treats! Like ice cream and stuff like that, that we've got over here in Britain.
Yeah.
And what different ones there are, and what maybe isn't as popular over here, and what maybe isn't as popular over there. I think everything that's kind of popular over here is popular in the UK anyway.
No.
Except for maybe a couple of things.
I mean, depends on what we're talking about. But
well, for example, I'll start Angel Delight.
I have no idea what that is.
It's like a whipped kind of pudding. A little bit like Cool Whip, but it's like...
Oh, right. What did we saw that on something we were watching.
Some show, yeah, they were eating it. And, you can get it in different flavors. You can
and she was like, oh, I think it was a YouTube video, actually. And she was eating it, and she goes, you eat this? She goes, okay, this is kind of like mousse, but
it's kind of like mousse.
It needs to be with something. She goes, you eat this just by itself? Like, this is a dessert?
Yeah,
it
did
look like a big tub of Cool Whip, though.
Yeah, you can have it strawberry, butterscotch, banana, whatever. They've got a ton of flavors.
Sounds
It was one of those it was one of those desserts that came out in the 1970s, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch that Back in Time for Dinner and stuff like that, this BBC show that we used to watch, they go through the history from the 40s to now.
Yeah.
Of British food. And in the 40s nobody had anything. It was rationed. It was little bits of meat maybe if you were lucky, and nothing. And then the 50s, when they came off rationing, there was stuff started to come back in. And then in the 60s everything started happening, sugary cereals, everything, all the sweet treats. Sweet treats. She loves that word. And, it's just... Angel Delight was one of those cheap kind of things, it was like a powdered mix.
Yeah.
And you whip it up with milk and you just whip it up.
It sounds absolutely horrible.
I used to eat... I think I've only had it, a couple of times in my life. I never really ate it growing up.
I mean
I know a lot of kids who did.
It's sort of like pudding.
It's pudding, yeah. It's pretty much pudding.
No, it's not.
I've
seen the girl eat it. It looked more like Cool Whip.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how much you whip it, I guess.
I mean, pudding
Strawberry
is
like the chocolate,
Pudding is thick and creamy,
Yeah.
What we call pudding. I mean, you guys call everything pudding.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
custard is more like what you guys would call what we call pudding.
Yes, custard is I guess so. It's like custard. I mean,
although do you have chocolate custard?
Yeah, probably now. I don't know if we did back in the day, but,
Well, we're not back in the day.
We are back in the day. We're in the past. We're living in the past here. But, no, I mean, I always used the yellow, vanilla custard. But, yeah, I'm sure there's probably chocolate custard out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Angel Delight, it's like a cheaper version of blancmange, which I know doesn't exist over here.
No, and it also sounds disgusting.
Blancmange is it's like a jelly. In school, they used to serve it, and you'd think it was jelly, but it was just like a pink kind of I didn't really care for it, really, personally.
About is in the 50s, and actually my grandma used to make it. You wouldn't mix whipped cream or Cool Whip, I guess, maybe. I don't really know how she made it. With the Jell-O and then gel it.
It's something kind of like that.
So the Jell-O, it was Jell-O, but it had the cream mixed in, so it's
something kind of like that, yeah.
A lighter, more milky color to it. And I think that was a popular, they would pour that into Jell-O molds.
Yes.
And it
was a popular dessert again in the 70s and 80s. These are all desserts everybody used to eat
I think more over
in
here,
the past.
50s and 60s.
Maybe even earlier than that. I'm not sure. But, it's kind of like Angel Delight and blancmange. I kind of group them together as It's like a similar kind of dessert, you know, really. 'Cause I never really used to eat them. I mean, you know.
Oh, sure.
I didn't, you know. I mean, I know kids who did. I knew kids who were raving about Angel Delight, you know. It's like, oh, Angel Delight, you know. My thing when I was a kid was Banana Crunch, which is like similar to kind of like Angel Delight, but you put like banana flavored custard into like a thing, and you heat it up, and you put like the crunchy bit on top. Oh, it was just so good. I mean, I've when I was a kid, it was like a thing, you know. My sister used to make it for me, and when I stayed over at her house, and it was just so good. And I remember, I don't think I've seen it anymore. I don't think it exists anymore for some reason. I guess they just stopped making it or whatever, and you know, you'll have to make your own now. But another one is Spotted Dick.
Yeah, which I've never had. As long as we've been together, It's like a light,
it's like a heavy sponge cake with like raisins in it.
Yeah.
Hence the spotted.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like the person who invented it was called
Richard.
Yeah.
Richard, you've got a lot to answer for, mate. But usually serve that with like hot custard and stuff, you know. But But yes, I mean, you know, it's like everybody like, what's Spotted Dick? That sounds disgusting over here. Everybody says that to me.
It looks okay. It looks a little bit.
It's a thing I never had really growing up. I mean, it's an old-fashioned dessert to me, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it in a tin now.
Yeah, no.
It's just like pound cake with
nothing
like raisins.
Good ever came from a tin.
Something good that did come was trifle, though.
Oh, well, yes.
Trifle. Very, very good. Very delicious. And, you know, you can get raspberry, you can get chocolate.
You know, I think over here we have this idea
forest fruits.
Okay, let me first say this. A trifle is delicious. But I think that in America, maybe because of the Friends episode, we have this sort of idea that a trifle is something really delicious. Like, you know, she was making it in that episode, Rachel, that is.
Rachel,
was making it in the episode, and she was putting in a lot of thought. Of course, the famous thing was she stuck the pages of the cookbook were stuck together, so she did half trifle and half shepherd's pie.
Yes.
But
what book was that? Was it English dishes or something?
Right. But she's like really, like it's something that's taking her a while. She's spending a lot of time on it, and then it's got all that fluffy cream on the top. It looks like if she hadn't put the meat in, oh, this is something magnificent. And do not get me wrong, it is a delicious dessert, but at the end of the day, it is a parfait with Jell-O.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much a parfait with custard and Jell-O.
Like, it's jelly. Not something that fancy or like mysterious, you know. It's like
whipped cream,
custard. It's fruit. Sort of like,
or chocolate. You can have chocolate with it too. It's like a fruity
version of a banana pudding, only there's no. I mean, you can have bananas in a trifle, though. You can have
banana
anything
pudding,
you want in it, right?
I mean, you can put anything you want in. Forest fruits. People do strawberries. People do raspberry. Those are like the common things. But it tends to have
some sort of like Jell-O or jam.
There's a Jell-O in it. It's Jell-O. Yeah, you can't really do trifle without Jell-O, or jelly, as we call it in Britain. Because that's another thing. I mean, jelly and Jell-O.
Well, Jell-O is just
the brand name. I know,
name.
But it's like
that's what we refer to it as. We have several things like that.
If we start calling it jelly, they'll think you mean jam. You know,
right? Yeah, because that's what we call jelly.
And I mean, jam does exist over here, but it's just kind of like
it's more like preserves
with chunks of fruit in, and jelly is like got nothing in it.
Yeah, it's just.
But it's still like a spread. Mm-hmm. And Jell-O is the brand name, and
Jell-O is the brand name of gelatin. Yeah, you have to make it. Although you can buy it already made, it comes in the little cups.
Yeah.
But yeah, we call it, I mean, we do that with a lot of things, like Band-Aid. Band-Aid is technically a brand name.
Yeah.
Velcro, you know, it's like, anyway, we do that a lot here with brand names, and I don't really know why, but I guess it's just because that is the first thing that came out, that particular brand name, so that's just what we call it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though it's not the name of the item, like Jell-O is obviously gelatin. I don't know why you guys call it jelly. I guess because once it's gelled,
gelled, yeah.
like,
I mean, there's different. It's like over here, like you have it in like crystal form, don't you?
mm-hmm.
Jell-O.
It's like a powdered form.
Yeah, it's like powdered. You don't get it like in like the small form. It's kind of like, you know, with the cookies, the easy bake cookies.
Right.
Over here, you know, you get them in like that squares, and then they just go, you know, they just
you put them in the oven.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have that at all in the UK. I mean, I don't know if we do now, but you know, back when I was a kid.
So if you guys, so if our British listeners don't know what he's talking about, in America, we can go to the grocery store and you can go into the refrigerated section, and there will be packages of pre-made cookie dough, and it'll come either in a big block, like a rectangular shaped block, with smaller blocks, and you just kind of break them off in chunks and put them on the cookie sheet to bake.
The baking tray, yeah.
Okay, you didn't translate. Or it'll come pre-made cookie dough with the chocolate chips in, or the raisins, or whatever in
a roll.
And it'll come in in like a roll, like a tube shape thing, and you just slice it into slices, or sometimes it's already sliced, and you just kind of peel off the the little.
It's very easy, very convenient.
It's very lazy.
It's very lazy, and I mean, you know, there's probably a whole host of reasons why it wasn't popular in Britain, probably because it had so much sugar or
preservative
and stuff in it, you know. So it just never caught on in Britain, because I think people in Britain, they like to bake. It's like, oh, people like, you know, it's like there's a lot of, like, there's a big older population or whatever that like to bake, and you know, so like, oh, Gran's cookies, and Gran's, you know, chocolate chip cookies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which is another thing that I love over here, is chocolate chip cookies, you know, and oatmeal raisin. They're just fantastic, you know. I mean, you can get them in Britain, but, you know, over here.
I think you were equating
that's right. The Jell-O comes like that in Britain.
Comes like our cookie dough.
It comes like the cookie dough.
It's like a condensed version
of the jelly.
Yeah.
Of the Jell-O. And you break it off, and you put it in like a bowl, in a glass bowl or whatever, and pour the hot water over it, and just mix it until it's dissolved. And it just like creates a liquid, then you stick it in the fridge, and then it sets. Which
I don't really know the reason for that. Like what? Because that's all you do with the powder also.
Yeah, the powder I don't know why the powder, because the powder you have to like put in cold water, don't you?
Oh, you put in hot,
Some hot, some cold, yeah. So that's another step. I mean,
you don't have to put the cold water in the jelly, how it comes in the cubes that?
No, it's just...
Okay, so that has something to do with it then, I guess. It's just... So yours is a little more convenient than ours.
Yes, so there's a convenience there for that, you know, because jelly and ice cream is a big thing, was a big thing in Britain, you know.
Which is so weird.
Putting jelly with ice cream?
Jell-O, yeah.
Jell-O.
Jelly meaning Jell-O in America.
Jell-O and ice cream, yeah.
It's a bizarre combination.
It was a birthday party staple, you know, you'd go around to like someone's birthday party, it's always like, okay, Jell-O and ice cream.
And would you have cake, though?
Yeah, cake. Yeah, we'd have cake.
Oh, but the cake...
Not with it.
But the cake in Britain is so different from the cake over here, isn't it? I mean...
Well, I don't know.
You don't have just like, let's say, a white...
We do have a white birthday cake, and...
I don't know. I mean, I've never bought a birthday cake over there, a pre-made birthday cake.
Another great dessert, I think, is the banoffee pie. It's another banoffee pie, which is just bananas and...
Which I had never had until you and I made one.
Like a toffee sauce. Like, it's kind of like dulce de leche.
Sort of.
It's kind of like that. I think you can make it with dulce de leche and have it turn out okay. And it's like... It's on like a... You can have it on a pastry base, but... You can put it on like a biscuits and butter base, you know, like a crushed biscuits and butter, which is like a graham cracker crust over here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you put the bananas and the toffee and then there's like a layer of cream on top. I think it's cream anyway, yeah, and it's really good, you know. I'll have to make it again.
Yeah.
Thinking about making that again. We're talking about sweet treats. We're talking about, like, there's a lot of bakeries in Britain.
Yeah.
There's a bakery...
There's bakeries.
There's like a lot of like and you're very into like cookies and cakes and
and these are my desserts of choice,
you know, like more so than candy.
Oh yes,
you know, where I can
throw out all the candy. I do not need
don't
it.
like it. I do not like
Well, Let's don't go overboard.
Don't like it. All I want is cookies and cakes and sweet treats.
Stop saying sweet treats. It's
Sweet
treats. It's so icky. I don't know why, but
yes, you'd like your sweet treats, wouldn't you? Yes.
It's just making me like, oh.
Yes, you would.
I don't know.
A sweet treat. In like Britain, we got this bakery chain called Greggs, which does like savoury snacks and baked goods, and also what is it? What do they do? Sweet treats. But it's just like they do like custard slices and Bakewell tarts and like Manchester tarts. You know, they do smaller versions of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Manchester tart, you guys, is so good.
And, you know, they do donuts and like eclairs and cookies and stuff like that. But, I mean, living in Texas where we are, I don't really see that too much. You know, I don't really see... I mean, there's bakeries around...
Not in Texas.
Like donuts and stuff, but they really only sell donuts and kolaches.
Donuts, yeah. Yeah, we don't just have like a bakery where you can go in and get...
I mean, I guess that's all you need over here, really, is a donut and a kolache.
I mean, yeah. All the supermarkets have like the bakery section, and they'll have like, you know, that kind of, those cases with, you know, you can get, like in H-E-B, you can get macarons or cupcakes or, you know, whatever. Cookies,
gingerbread men.
Cannoli,
Well, yeah.
you know. But yeah, we don't really, and I don't know if that's just because things are so much more spread out here. I would be curious to know if we have anybody listening, like in the New England area, where towns and everything are a lot more walkable and things are more close together.
Do you have bakeries?
Yeah, are there more bakeries up that area?
Yeah.
Because my mom just got back from Liverpool, well, a few weeks ago, and she, they went to Liverpool, they went to Wales, they went to York, and she has this theory that there are just more bakeries and more like candy shops and things like that because there's more pedestrian traffic.
There's definitely more pedestrian traffic.
So like you're just walking by, you're going from point A to point B, but you walk by a bakery and you're like, ooh, let's stop in here and get a
custard slice.
Get a custard slice and a coffee or a whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's probably true. You don't, you know, you're driving down the road, you're going to wherever.
Yeah.
I don't think that, you know, you might pass and go, ooh, that sounds good, but you're probably just going to keep driving. You know what I mean?
Depends who you are. I mean, people. Yeah. Like, oh, Krispy Kreme,
in the middle
you know,
of a highway, yeah.
or whatever, you know, donuts.
But
cookies.
it's like you're going down a highway or something like that. It's like, unless that is where you're going, you're probably not going to, like, pull off the road to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, ugh, it's a bother. But if you're walking by and you've got a little bit of time and, ooh, you know, let's go in here and get a whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably right. So, up in New York City, I mean, obviously...
There's a lot of, like, bakeries.
I can't like, think of...
Any, like, famous ones.
Or, like, even just... I can't, like, picture in my mind... I mean, it's been a while since the last time I've been to New York, but I can't, like, just automatically remember passing bakeries, but I'm sure there are bakeries.
Yeah.
And surely there are probably in, you know, wherever, Connecticut and New Jersey and, you know, some of those other kind of states up there where things are closer and people walk a lot more.
Yeah.
Or I could be totally wrong. Who knows?
Someone from New York, tell us.
It would not be the first time.
Tell us all about it. But another one I really like, I mean, going on to, like, American now, you know, is cheesecake. That's one of my top 10 desserts.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't really make a top 10 list, I don't think. You know, because
probably
so
cheesecake
much.
is, like, one of our most popular desserts you would find in a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm fairly certain I've been to, like...
The New York style, the original New York style.
Even in, like, maybe some Chinese and, like, Indian restaurants, you might see cheesecake on the... Because it's, like, it's
such a popular dessert.
And it's very, like, it's an American dessert.
Yeah. Banana pudding.
Do they do cheesecake in Britain?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I used to buy this like frozen one from the Tesco's. I mean, it was a mandarin cheesecake.
Oh yes.
You didn't really care for it that
No.
much. Yeah, they had mandarin. It was good, but it had mandarins on top, like a mandarin like jelly.
It was weird.
And mandarin slices, like orange slices, and it was just like an original New York style cheesecake crust. I thought
but it was like a frozen one.
It was a frozen one, yeah.
Sara
I mean, it was
Lee or something like that.
So it wasn't Sara Lee, but it was.
No, but I mean, it tasted. I might as well have.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have Sara Lee in Britain, but yeah.
Banana pudding, though.
Banana pudding. That is another.
Again,
one
it's like trifle, but I mean, it's so good.
It's just so good. I mean,
so instead, do they do banana pudding in Britain?
I don't. I mean, it's something I didn't grow up. I think it was only over here that I think I might have even first had it over here, actually.
Okay, so it's basically like a trifle.
It's basically like a trifle.
Only there's no, like, jelly or jam layer.
Yeah.
It's just the pudding, which is like the custard,
Yeah.
and then the sliced bananas,
The whipped
vanilla wafers instead of sponge, or what? Don't they put, like, ladyfingers in some trifle?
Yeah, sometimes they put ladyfingers and...
Yeah.
Cherry trifle is a big deal as well, with like a liqueur.
So this has vanilla wafers, which I don't know if they do in Britain, but vanilla wafers it's just a vanilla biscuit.
It's like a biscuit.
Crispy cookie. And they kind of soften a little bit and then loads of whipped cream on the top, and it's
it's
go wrong.
so good.
I see also you have on your list in the American section brownies. And can I just say, Britain does not do brownies well.
You've only tried one.
I don't know, but it just ruined it for me. I'm
brownies,
never having it again.
I mean, it was very cakey or something, wasn't it?
No, it was like...
That's something that Britain doesn't do very well either with its donuts. It's cake donuts. Because over here they do like the raised kind of donut, which is like fried. Well, it's fried.
Yeah.
I mean, the cake, but they do cake donuts in Britain, and it's just like, ugh. It's just like, it's...
I don't mind cake.
They're hard going, if you know what I mean by hard going. It's like, you're eating it, and it's like, they're not easy to eat. It's just like, you feel like you're eating a cake.
Yeah.
And you should be eating like a donut.
So you have Boston cream pie on the list.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of goes with the donuts, because you couldn't put that inside a cake donut, could you?
No, you couldn't.
But our kind of fried donuts you can fill them with...
I mean, we do kind of have a raised kind of like dough donut.
Well, they have Krispy Kremes in Britain.
They have them at Krispy Kremes in Britain.
So, I mean,
oh, man, yeah.
If they've been to Krispy Kreme, they know what American-style donuts are like. We do have the cake donuts.
Also, if you go to the supermarket, you get a jam donut, right? Which is like it's sort of like a cake donut, but it's got loads of jam in it, and it's covered in granulated sugar.
Yeah.
It's like you take it out, it's like you may as well be taking it out of a bag of sugar. It's like...
I think we do them kind of like that.
Yeah, but that's the only kind of donuts. I know if you go to like a bakery like Greg's and you get, I'll have that chocolate sprinkled donut over there.
Yeah.
It's a cake donut, and you're just like,
Yeah.
To me, I'm not a big fan. I mean, they do cake donuts over here, but they're the one, if you go to like a donut place over here, like the one that's up the road from us, and, you go just before they close, all the cake donuts are the only ones left. Because no one likes cake donuts. Why bother making them?
I think it's like old people like cake donuts. They dip them in their coffee.
Oh, a coffee stick or whatever they call it. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I suppose it might be good like that.
I've never been that much of a fan. Although I've had a blueberry cake donut, and that's quite good, actually.
I mean, a blueberry muffin. There we go. Another classic one that I love,
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I was thinking when I was making this, like, oh yeah, maybe Britain do desserts better than America, but then I was making the American thing, I was like, oh, there's so much I love over here about...
Yeah.
There's like, it's just like,
I mean, you have on the British list, blackberry and apple crumble. We do.
You do apple crumble, but you don't do the blackberry.
We call it apple crisp, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, blackberry and apple crumble.
Crumbled bits on the top, and they get crispy.
It's
like an apple pie, only with a different
blackberry and apple. It's like a popular juice drink flavor in Britain too.
Blackberry. I mean, you can get blackberry crumble. I think I've seen it in the frozen section at H-E-B, actually. H-E-B is our local grocery store, by the way, when I say H-E-B.
Pies are the big thing over here. When I first came over here, everybody was going on about pies, and I was like, What do you mean by pies? Because in Britain it's meat pies.
Pie.
Like, you'll get like a...
Pie. Sorry.
I'll start saying sweet treats again if you don't stop. Sweet treats. Sweet treats. But, pies over here are, like, very... like... popular, like... Yeah. And you're not gonna... They're fruit. They're dessert,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't like...
They're sweet.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna have, a pie and... If I said to you pie and chips, you'd be like, that is disgusting.
Yeah. We would think like, oh, what, lemon meringue?
It's like biscuits and gravy.
Lemon meringue and Doritos? What are you talking about,
Which I'm sure someone out there has had and thinks it's the best meal since sliced bread, but, it's just not for me. Because in Britain, like, a meat pie would be like a meat pie. It'd be like a Cornish pasty.
Right. I mean, we have, like, pot pie.
Which is kind of like steak and kidney type things.
That's like
they
a
call
savory thing to us. Yeah. So, but yeah, you don't generally, if someone says pie in America, we don't automatically think
we want to go for
pie.
Pie, yeah.
So, like, we have the restaurant here called the House of Pies. I mean, we don't have it in Austin, but in America, I think.
And it's all like...
If you were...
coconut cream and...
Yes.
Banana cream.
Pie. Yes.
It is good. I mean, it's absolutely really bloody good,
banana cream, lemon meringue.
Lemon meringue, yeah.
Chocolate cream pie.
You don't really care for chocolate cream pie that much, do you?
I do, actually, yes.
I do, actually, yes.
I've never met a pie I didn't like, okay?
I think you have. I think there's been a couple of pies.
Cherry pie. And then we get into, like, the baked ones that you have to have a scoop of vanilla ice cream on the top of, like cherry and apple and peach. Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
It's all going to be over when you move to Britain. You're not going to be able to get any of that. I mean, yeah, I think you can get that sort of stuff in Britain, but you have to make it from scratch.
Dun, dun, dun!
It's like Great British Bake Off, and you have to do it as fast as they do it on the Great British Bake Off. You've got to have Paul Hollywood there.
Oh, you have on the list pumpkin pie. Yeah, I forgot about the holiday staples.
The holiday staples, pumpkin and pecan. Pecan's just kind of like down here, though, isn't it, really?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Anyone else in America?
I've only ever lived in Texas, so.
Anyone else in America tell us what about the if it's...
Do you do
Because I think that's just like a Texas and southern states thing.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, pecan tree is our tree in Texas. Yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of pecan trees in Texas.
I'd never had one before I moved over here. I'd never even heard of a pecan. I mean, pecan.
Well, my
pecan is what they call it. Butter pecan,
My aunt, one of my aunt's husband makes a walnut pie, which is basically the same thing as the pecan pie, only with walnuts. Yeah. So maybe that's something they do in other states. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, to me, pumpkin pie is like Thanksgiving. I mean,
pumpkin
and pecan pie are both like Thanksgiving to me, and they just...
Which doesn't get celebrated in Britain.
I never even considered...
Because we don't give thanks.
You're not thankful people.
We're not thankful people. We just take all the sweet treats and we eat them.
I never even thought that they might not eat pecan pie elsewhere in the United States.
You got to remember, this is a big... Because in Britain, it's a very small country. It's like someone could live in John O'Groats.
That's so interesting.
Eat the same thing as I do in... Land's End,
do you guys eat pecan? Do you Americans, my fellow Americans, do you eat pecan pie? I don't know. I just assumed you did, but maybe you don't.
No, maybe you don't.
Okay. I think we're done. Let's go eat.
Let's go eat, because we're very hungry now and we haven't eaten. And it's all your fault.
Oh my god, now I just want to make all the desserts.
But yes, go look us up. Join the discussion on Tea and a Buddy Facebook. Just type in Facebook. Just do a search.
Tell us your favorite dessert. I know there's billions.
Tell us everything that your grandmother used to make, or you make, or give us recipes.
Well, probably.
Give us suggestions. Give us recipes.
Yes.
Yes. Give us all the recipes that you make. If you have a better sticky toffee pudding recipe than the one I have, then go for it.
I have a feeling that we're going to revisit some of these same topics.
Oh, yes.
Eventually, because there's so many that we didn't mention and that we can talk about more and just, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be revisiting all these.
So, look us up on Facebook, Twitter,
T-Buddy.
Instagram.
Yeah, T-Buddy.
Website. Yeah, T-Buddy everywhere.
T-Buddy everywhere. And we'll see you on the next episode. So goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.